I'm rolling straight into part two of day 6. And I mean, just rolling. I just barely found my glasses and I went over by 2 seconds. And you guys are seeing a certain amount of frantic energy. I'm not going to hide it. What's going on is that we really need to start focusing on what's going to work. And uh, as far as people handling the Iran war, that's the U.S. military's doing that. Don't people, everybody else, get your head out of that. Get into what you're doing today. You're going to work for some stupid shit that you don't really believe in, and then you got a pile of credits to buy stuff from people you can't trust, and then putting mostly poison in your food. Yeah, I just ate this Jolly Ranch. I don't want to lie, and it was grapefruit flavored in a plastic egg in a plastic wrap, and it wasn't real food because I got felt sick afterwards. Good thing I got actual grapefruits. So I ate one. It's much more flavorful and better for you. So the Maha thing is so on time and really happens, it needs to happen. And yet if people are taking in all the information and yet still not really doing anything coherent with it, doesn't that say eat? That says eat. That's supposed to be somebody that was channeling David Bowie for that painting. They usually just do splashes, but she's somebody that does mystic information and channels and all that. I said, yeah, I just had a dream about David Bowie. It's like, oh, he wants you to have this painting. It's like, sure, cool. Sent it to me. Eat. David Bowie telling me to eat. He forgot to eat. But he knew how to parlay his rock stardom into a real effective energy, put a lot of message into the world, which, by the way, was one of the ways I was thinking about Christ. Once I went kind of, was trying to be realistic. It's like, okay, it may be possible that all that mystic stuff is real, but what do we really know? Well, what we really know is that somebody 2,000 years ago, we're still talking about him. That's the one thing you can call a bottom line. Another thing you can call a bottom line, whether you believe in Jehovah or not, is that we're talking about it. We're dealing with it. So it doesn't have to be real for us to pretty much should be understanding what's going on. And what's the difference between Judgment Day and the fact that we're crashing our planet? I'm talking material people think we are, and they're right. We are. But so are we gonna freak out and just point fingers at everything we've done so far? From a scientific materialist analysis, we're screwed. There's no doubt. But the fact is, well, maybe. I mean, maybe. No, actually, I think that all these potential fantastic changes that the uh, everybody's talking about, the new age. I mean, even if we get new technology from the UFOs, and especially all the spirit changes, could easily happen. And people that don't believe in spirit would just see people starting to get their thing more coherently together on the ground. I disbelieve in the idea that there's going to be a 5D. I mean, I've heard 5D means we actually have crystalline, I don't know, crystalline genetics now? Come on, guys. There's no need to go there when what's really simple and in our all of our abilities to deal with is to reconnect to the planet and our own food supply, starting with your own body, your own health. I don't need to be shouting. Um, Starting with your own health. And this was seen in vision. When I talk about the 18 by 17 matrix, the first one in all cases was vision. I mean, health, food, farming, how we get our food source. But this is also how you ground an economy in something coherent. And so I did want to get into more constructive thoughts about all this. Specifically, and I guess we can start there. There's a bunch of new businesses relating to new food products, and there's a lot of also people offering their services in terms of psychologically connecting to all these energies, whether you want to call it new age or just and getting people off of antidepressants, which are just toxic chemical. There's a lot of good things about materialist science, but the way they're dealing with our health is not good. The way they're dealing, and the way that industry has abused materialist science to sell us false grapefruit flavors that are actually chemicals. It's like, why would you do why would you want to feed your fellow people wrapped in plastic things that aren't food that resemble but and pretend to be and make you want more because of the sugar? Only because there's a reason to make a quick buck and disbelieve in higher values. Stop. You don't need more reason than that. Can we go Occam razors on this? We don't need these huge conspiracies. Now, once you have a basic context that that's kind of what's happening, people have an incentive to feed you chemicals instead of grapefruit. Um, then you're going to have mafias that take advantage of this disconnect with real values because that means people are that easily fooled and apparently don't care. That's enough of a reason to have elites that basically look like are abusing us. But I want to stop pointing fingers. I want to also talk to the. I try to talk to the elites. Nobody's listening. Not even my 6 friends really get what I'm saying. But the elites pointing fingers at the people. It's like, yeah, you have to let everyone co-own resources. Is how we get to responsibility. People, but in the context of we're all backstabbing each other, it makes sense to try to be richer than others. But if we got back to the context of we're working together to make these common resources sustainable and available and enjoyable, forget the enjoyable part because you can't put a quantity on it. Yeah, everything about money is not the way to do it. The way to do it is about value and interest, and there's a free market aspect to that, and that's how you do it. You do it in the free market if people get to choose their own associations with, different industries essentially, and associations of different interests. So now we have all these health food options, like different chips that don't use, but they're local and they're small. And they're all still in the context of competing. So here's one context of the community-based economy means you network instead of compete. People pool in. There's a vision I had about like the musicians, buskers, the street musicians and dancers all pooled in all their resources and then took care of most of their needs in a tent village. And all that cash was applied to like paying off the cops or whatever you needed, you know, building new resources of whatever kind. And so we're in a place where there's 3 years. If everybody stopped the TDS, God damn it, stop the TDS. I'm impressed. I started. I mean, I did. I didn't. I was just like, wow, because I enjoyed the fact that Hillary Clinton did not get to be president. I never trusted her. I never trusted the Clintons. That's when I divorced from the Democrats back in '92. Jerry Brown was the last honest candidate because he mentioned the money. It's like he would only take $100 as a donation when you were able to give 250,000. I mean 2,500, and now it's even more, right? No, you can only give me 100, says Jerry, because then I'm supposed to consider you. No, I'm representing everybody. People can either almost make 150 is good enough, and what's the difference? And that was meaningful. And we almost stopped Clinton, but Clinton up front was selling out. He was an upfront sellout. He said, vote for me, I'm a sellout. And people voted for him, and that's what we got. And then you wonder why. NAFTA was upfront. We're going to take all the jobs and send them to China. And people are like, no, but we're going to be able to buy cheaper from Walmart. So that's how lazy and disconnected we are. And then you want to try to blame the elite. So get over that. I'm really done with that. Blaming the elite. But then, so politics ain't going to do it. We're going to make some new things happen and people are going to buy in because they're not going to have jobs, but we're going to offer jobs. They're like, what? You're offering me lifelong education? And all I got to do is a couple extra, I don't know, help my neighborhood area permaculture network, throw in a couple hours, maybe deliver some things. This is what you can use AI for, the complication of flex jobs that interrelate certain functions. And how do you start weaving this together? Well, how about a bunch of local permaculture farms, and can some of the customers do some of the farm work? And can some of the customers host some farmland in their yards? Or are we just talking about each household growing their own foods in their backyard because that's where I'm trying to start, but I don't know any of this. So I go to the permaculture people and they're like, yeah, give us some money. Yeah, that's why I'm shouting. I'm so done with the give us some money part. And our little operation, instead of, hey, we have a network of, do you need to be educated or you just maybe want somebody to come and help you like decide what to plant right now? Like this week, I got $20 to buy some seeds and then we can make an association and we'll know this will be a lifelong association and we can start working together. Is there any option like that? Or is it all no? Come learn permaculture. Pay us $2,000 for permaculture courses. Nobody's got time for that. So I'm directly now talking to the whole permaculture movement. Get it together. Turn into a movement. Then you offer these other things peripherally. But the main thing that needs to happen is we need to start growing permaculture everywhere. So the main thing, how do we get that onto people's plates? Well, maybe if they could work a couple hours and get some permaculture food or offer some of their yards. So this is a potential new worldwide business. But if you call it like a worldwide business, it's one business, everybody gets scared and they're going to try to stop you. But if you do it coherently as a network of local efforts, it happens not and it's I think the very first step and it gives us a clue about how to do 17 other things at least, eh? Clothing, food, furniture. Health includes farm, sports, enjoyment, psychology. That's so much there. And right now, it's our health system. It's the worst crisis of them all. That's karmic as hell. I can't believe this is a true fact. I wasn't even going to win. I got bit by a brown spider in one of these things. I never saw it, but my friend said, that's a brown spider. Go in. I waited 3 hours. I still owe them about $150 on that one. And then they sent me the piece of paper. Somebody was charging $4,000 for what amounted to not even 5 minutes of a doctor coming in and saying, here's your prescription for the antibiotic for a brown recluse. That's where our health system is at. And everything is sort of, I mean, not as bad as that, but it's all like that when you start with disconnecting people from their responsibility and then you allow everybody else to take advantage of everybody's ignorance. People are allowing themselves to be taken advantage of, but education and also media and different other things play into it because we're all okay with everybody trying to pickpocket each other. So don't, yeah, it's bad, but they got to make money that way, so it's okay. No, it's not okay anymore. And all that's crashing, and everybody knows it. That's why we're coming to where things that are positive are going to start gathering strength, and things that are negative are going to start crashing away. And there's no need to be pointing fingers, especially at the people that are holding most of the resources right now. And they're not being fools. They're not going to give anything away because you convince them that they should. But they are if they realize that the only way they're going to ground communities with their own sense of responsibility so they take care of things. And that's getting a little abstract too. But here's how they're going to be responsible. We're going to steal all your employees unless you start becoming real with what it all means. Steal. People looking for jobs are going to come work with us. And then who are you guys that are using AI to be able to fire people? Who are you going to sell to when we're basically providing jobs that also connect you to what you really need and might be able to get without having to have a pile of cash because it's part of your affiliation with this new network of companies. So you could be like working for a bookstore, which nobody reads, so let's not use that example. Well, but something, a coffee shop, and a restaurant, and then there's a farm, but then there's a library of techie equipment where people are doing things like, then you've got, I would say, workshops to make art, furniture. You have another set of workshops to make clothing. You could be selling custom made products to anybody, whatever scale they want, all the way to the top. And with all this using, I don't know if you want to use AI to be able to custom make personal connections, but the complication is in perhaps how the economy works, that we bring it to co-op ownership and yet never really disrupt the free market aspect of it, and certainly do not have to invoke governments because, first of all, governments stop at the boundaries of nations, whereas this kind of approach transcends everything worldwide, all the way to China. And China is one of the first to pick up on something that works because of their non attachment to ideology and metaphysics. All right. But over here in America, we're also quite good with new things and getting into stuff that works. And that's where we have to go because nobody's listening to each other anymore. We're just pointing fingers. So we got to stop with people pointing fingers. And the ones that are ready to start making things happen, which there's a lot of all over, start with directories and start to try to connect people into cooperative networks. And then we can find how we can be more self-sustainable, community-based.